This episode of Pod Against Evil is brought to you by That's My Entertainment. Travis, this is the Hex Files episode.
Ooh, exciting.
And you know what a good X Files fan would say, I want to believe. And if you would like to believe in That's My Entertainment, they can provide you with some, facts and news updates, so it's easier to believe your geeky and news related content that you would need in order to survive another day on the internet. They also would like you to believe in them and work with you and they're looking for volunteers right now in order to do some writing for them and in regards to articles about some of your favorite entertainment content. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely give them a look. Also, we always want to mention the shopagainstevil.com, where you can go to find all the merch, the Stan-related merch that you can possibly want. Help, grab a shirt, a mug, help support the show so that we can get that Season 4 shovels up for Season 4, guys. And also, if you'd like to follow us on the social medias, you can do so. Just subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps us out. Or you can, follow us on Twitter at Pod Against Evil, or on our Facebook, Pod Against Evil, or you can, just email us at podagainstevil@gmail.com. Anyway, with that, I want to believe in this segue to the show, but I don't have one.
Oh.
So...
I'm sure there's some scientific proof behind it. It's fine.
There's a scientific explanation behind why these segues are usually so good, and now we just need to quantify it. Anyway, while we go and do that, let's get on with the show.
All right.
I'm Valerie Tosi, and I play Angent Nesbit, and you're listening to Pod Against Evil.
And welcome to Pod Against Evil, Episode 2 of Season 3, also known as The Hex Files.
Because the show's awesome.
Because the show's great. Like that, I love. That's gonna be our thing after like all the episode titles is just like, yeah, it's titled this because this show is fucking amazing.
Except for the one with the very long title.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll get to that. But you know what else is amazing? Our guests for today. Who do we have on the mic? Well, we have, of course, our regular TV dude joining us, Les Weiler. Les, say hi.
Hi.
That is Les, a man of few words but many opinions. And we also have, giggling on the mic, why it's Mike Moody. Mike, say hi.
Hi.
So, Mike, you work with Les over there at the Permanent Record Studios on a couple projects and stuff like that. I know that sometimes you record with the TV dudes, but you also have some of your own projects going, including your own TV podcast, kind of like what we do for Mr. Robot, Mr. Robot O, which is a great name for a podcast. Very jealous. Would you like to tell the people a little about yourself and some of your projects?
Yeah, my name's Mike Moody. I run Permanent Record Studios, and I am the co-founder of the Electric Sweater podcast network.
Electric Sweater! Why did I just do that? Why did that happen?
TV Dude's turn.
It's a neat reaction. And yeah, that passes TV Dudes, Les's show, The Good Die Young, Mr. Roboto, Star Trek Discovery Pod, and a few other podcasts. So if your listeners want to check it out, it is electricsweater.com. And I want to thank you for inviting me on this show because of you, I got to dive into the world of Stan again, which I've been missing since the end of season 2. So I'm ready to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. You are most welcome, Mike. We, of course, are excited to expose anyone to Stan. Or have, Stan expose himself to anyone, or any combination, really. It sounds...
that second one sounds weird.
Yeah, we should have stopped at the first one. But yes, we are very excited to have you on to talk about this episode. We are... I mean, without further ado, should we just get right into it, guys?
Sure.
Let's get into it? Okay. Yep. Well, it is episode 302, like we were saying, the Hex Files. We open on Willard's Mill, present day. And we see the Black Hat Society. So we have not seen them in a bit.
No, not since last season at some point.
So it was interesting to see them back, hooded, so we didn't get to see any of their faces. And but we assume that it is the same people from before. We are confirmed that Laura is definitely there. And there are 3 of them, but one is missing because Judy is running behind. She did not take into account daylight savings time. And she gets a call on the phone, and I know probably Les appreciates this.
Okay, before we get to the phone, guys,
Okay.
Can I just mention that butter rooster is really fucking creepy?
So yeah, we'll be talking about that butter chicken a lot this episode because
You guys were aware that carving butter is a thing.
Travis was not.
I live in Wisconsin. I'm not aware of this.
Yeah,
So, Ace, I thought you guys are both from Wisconsin. You've got to. I mean, if I'm aware of this in Texas heat, that like,
Yeah, you guys
County
aren't
fair-
carving butter statues right now.
No.
county fair, there's no fall butter. Yeah.
I'm currently, as we are doing the podcast, carving off camera here a giant Murgatroyd out of butter. And we have, of course, a puzzle butter sculpture, but that got fucked up by an owl.
Like I've seen like store brand like lambs, like butter in the shape of lamb, but I thought that was a weird Christian thing
You just
for Easter, and I never really thought that people do that.
no, people carve butter, man. Totally a thing. And Travis did not like it.
It was creepy.
He did not like it at all.
it was
He was
weird.
he was very disturbed this
I'm
episode.
pretty sure that chicken was evil.
He was just well, there's some suspicion later. But yeah, so after we see the butter chicken, Judy gets a call on the phone, and I just have here in my notes, phone voice, exclamation point, it's back! Exclamation point.
Hello? No. We're not meeting for another 40 minutes. Okay. Where in our sacred text does it mention daylight savings time, Laura? It's a pointless Western construct.
This is one of my favorite things that the show started doing, and I really wish that they would, for streaming services, just go back to the first season and put in the
Redub it.
as the phone voice for every. I love it.
Stand Against Evil, the phone voice edition.
Also, that they ask where she is, and she's like, "You called me on my home phone."
That's a great line.
I don't get to use that anymore.
So, question about the phone voice. That started in season 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah,
they
it
didn't
is.
set it in season 1, and it just started. But it for me, it helps set the wacky tone a little more solidly.
I love this because even though I agree with her about this daylight savings time line she has, I still think she comes off as kind of an asshole.
Well, it's like your like if you have a digital clock, it's still gonna change. Like,
what do you
not
mean
really
about
an optional thing.
daylight savings time? It's a pointless Western construct, which I don't know, because I do feel the same way about daylight savings time. It is useless.
Oh, yeah.
But when she says it, I almost go like, fucking Judy.
I believe we have the Germans to blame for it.
I don't know. Did anyone else feel like this? Les, were you feeling this?
I think daylight savings time is stupid, and I agree with her. But it cracked me up that she was like, "No, we don't have to pay attention to that for this." Like, I like the argument about, wait, does that apply now? I mean, these things come up in like Gremlins and all kinds of things of like, what does midnight mean? Like, where were these rules written? Like, is this monster from Australia? Is that noon? Like,
yeah, I thought of this as a riff on that kind of old 80s, the rules of horror, like in Gremlins. Yeah, because it comes at the end in a big way.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that they were so much setting that up, but it pays off so well later.
I have questions about Judy. I haven't seen season 2 in a while. Can somebody just quickly give me her backstory? She's bad, right?
Judy is one of the lesser characters, actually, of Black Hat Society. The main member, Laura, played by Denise Boot, is actually not in this episode, which I thought was very interesting.
Like, I felt like these were brand new witches. Like, I couldn't remember if I'd actually seen Judy before or not.
Yeah, she was in season 2.
Yeah.
She definitely. Her and I forget the guy's name, but like when he wanted to go get ice cream, it was like, I'm lactose intolerant, and it's like, just shut up. Like,
You're just intolerant.
that was her thing. Was Judy was like
just kind of awful.
It was just awful. Like,
Not evil, just awful.
just awful. But yeah, she ends up showing up late, but it looks like they started without her, which was a grave mistake because they find these just incinerated
They're charcoal.
corpses. Yes, they are. Wow, they are just. I love the effects work on here. Like these burned bodies are looking real good. A head falls off, which is pretty cool.
Apparently, according to Deputy Drinkwater, they're witnesses.
Yes.
Yes.
3.
Yep. That's
And Drinkwater's only got the one glove on.
I mean, technically, he's not incorrect, I guess.
I mean, they saw what happened.
They did. I mean, he's technically correct. But anyway, we cut from Judy screaming to the opening credits. And we come back to the same burned bodies, but now Evie and Drinkwater are there. Evie is confused because the bodies seem to be the only thing that has been burned, and nothing else, like not the chairs, table, or anything else in the room, just the bodies. To which Drinkwater asks, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Which
Never.
I knew during the setup, I'm like, this is going to be something unbelievably ridiculous.
Very Pinky in the Brainish.
Like, yeah, I don't know, Drinkwater, where would we get this many watermelons at this time of night? But he says,
If you could teach a gorilla to use a snake as a bullwhip.
Not thinking that. I am not thinking that.
and that's as far as he gets before Evie just cuts him off as like, never mind, I'm not thinking what you're I don't even know why I entertained this. This was my mistake. I take full responsibility for this.
Kind of want to know where he was going with that, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the opening here. The opening is actually a little farther down. I have in my notes.
Oh.
I wrote it twice. I'm an idiot. But yeah, because the opening comes after our new additions here. Because after the bullwhip line, we are introduced to Angent Nesbit and Agent Fleming.
You mean our not X-Files people?
I have their names like here written on the top of my notes here, and I have underneath them not Scully and not Mueller, because I know I'm gonna call them that at some point in this episode. So be ready for that, because they are so obviously like it's not even like they look like they're made up to look exactly like these characters.
Like the point of parody is almost going too far.
Well, even this, and then this was interesting. The music that plays when they show up is so like I went back and checked, and it is not the X-Files music.
No, it's not.
It just sounds like
Music.
It really sounds like it.
They have a moment later where they go into full like X-Files flashlight,
Yes.
color grade, all of it, and that music really
It's really close.
Yeah, it's weird how the music team on here was great because I feel it. Like it's like, oh, this is definitely that type of music, but it's not quite like there's enough different about it that they might be okay with copyright. I don't know how that works.
I don't know.
But anyway,
Copyright's weird.
Anyway, now we get the opening, and after we come back, they introduce themselves as Fleming and Nesbit, and they are played by Valerie Tosi and Chris. I'm forgetting his name now here. Doherty. That's what it was. I have a hard time pronouncing his last name. They are part of the New Hampshire State Bureau of Paranormal Phenomenon.
Yes. Or the NHSBPP.
The NHS BPP?
You've heard of us?
No, but that's what it would be called.
Which I find is a running joke in the series and is very funny. So they tell Evie that Willer's Mill has been on their radar for a while because they've heard about the witch's curse. They kind of know Eccles. They know the deal. And it's kind of like in their wheelhouse of stuff they deal with on a regular basis.
But Nesbit doesn't actually believe it because there's obviously a scientific explanation for this.
Clearly there's a scientific explanation. We just haven't found it yet.
She's the skeptical one. That's sort of our dynamic.
Just in case anyone in the audience didn't get it.
I was trying to figure out what the motivation was for the X-Files parody in this episode, because it's so thick in this episode. And it's kind of weird because I know the X-Files came back recently, and the first season was okay when they came back. The second one was just not really good, and I think they're going to be gone forever now after the shit show that was that second new season that they put out. But I don't know, it's not really like in the culture anymore. And I remember that The Simpsons had an X-Files episode back in 97, which I think was way before Dana Gould joined the writing staff. So was he just like wanting to write for Mulder and Scully at this point? He's like, oh, just put him in Stan.
That's kind of, because it doesn't feel of the show. It feels like they wanted to do this send up.
I think the explanation is that Dana Gould is a real big fan of the X-Files.
Yeah.
And who else is a real big fan?
Details too.
Yeah.
Who else is a real big fan of the X-Files is actually our special guest today. Who we have on later in the show, Valerie Tosi herself, who played Agent Nesbit. So we're going to wait until we get a truly great Nesbit scene later in the episode where it's coming up. So
I did love Fleming's line here when Evie is skeptical about like, I just don't believe y'all are a government org, and he does the whole like, well, there are things that you haven't heard of that do exist with his thing.
I believe the line is, it's possible
off and says touche. And he goes, Agent Touche, good to meet you. And she starts to correct it. Did you catch that he winks and says, I know.
I'm good.
It's so kind of douchey, but like even his the wink was just barely there.
I believe the line is like, possible for things to exist despite you never heard of them.
This X-Files thing for me kind of came out of nowhere and seemed a little out of step in this world. I still really loved it because the two characters, even though they're laying on the X-Files jokes really hard, just like that, what the Mulder character did. He's like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's so much of that little winking stuff in this episode. It's so funny. I loved it.
Yeah. I really feel like the actors behind Fleming and Nesbit took it above just a standard X-File parody.
See, I feel like it's out of step of a typical episode, but like not as much as I think it falls in line with some of the bigger stuff like Werepony.
Yeah, it kind of falls under like the high concept kind of side.
Yeah, it's very much like Community, where now like this season seems to be almost every episode is a very high concept, like
either parody or taking something to extremes.
I think the show from this point has realized, wow, people really like that Werepony episode. Maybe we should steer more into that lane. Than on the than in the traditional horror side, I think, which I think makes this season so far like it's very funny. This episode is very smartly written, a lot of great lines in it, and I agree. I don't watch that much X-Files. I hardly watch any at all. Actually, I thought this episode was hilarious. But where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. He was talking about something, the horseshoe bat, just because something, you haven't heard of something doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Right.
Drinkwater,
chimes in.
Drinkwater chimes in with, well, we do have witnesses. They're right here. And the burnt corpses. Evie says like, why don't you go outside and, get your other glove on? And we treated to this great, like, Ouroboros eating its own tail of Drinkwater trying to open this door with this glove, and it's like it takes him a while because he takes the one glove off to put the other glove on, and then he takes that glove off to put this one on, and then he takes that glove off, and and the scene just cuts off, and you just are assuming that he just spent like an hour trying to get these gloves on until he gave up.
How is he still alive?
That's a good question.
I mean, not just in a drown in a rainstorm, but like how is he actually we discussed this a little bit about the first episode, but and the time travel theory, but Drinkwater should be dead if it was time travel, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was going to be one of my questions. One, I thought he died last season, Drinkwater, and two, what is happening this season?
Mike, it sounds like you are confused. Let me lay it down for you. Our previous theory of the previous episode is that it is not time travel. It is in fact a hell created by one Gerard Duquette from the moment they step into the cabin. There was no actual time travel, which means Drinkwater was never actually back in that time, never got decapitated, is alive. And as far as what's
straight up no prize theory, like we don't have a lot of proof on this.
It's headcanon. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it makes sense. And as far as the answer for what's happening this season, everything. What isn't happening? Just let it flow over you. Enjoy the ride.
I was watching with my wife who loves the show, and she was like, explain to me what is happening this season. I just looked at her like, it's just jokes. Just enjoy the jokes. I don't know.
Well, we do with a little plot stuff this episode, because this is where we're introduced to Horace.
They found out that Judy's actually trying to summon Horace.
Indeed. And
Which, I mean, anytime you see Stan with an open book, something bad's going to happen. Like, the man,
that's
pleasure.
So yeah, they end up calling Stan. He's in Claire's room studying, like we were saying before. He's trying to do the whole find a bigger evil to let a little evil in from the previous episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Stan, it's me.
That it?
No! Hey, have you ever heard of the New Hampshire State Bureau of Paranormal Phenomena?
The NHS BPP.
Yeah.
No, but that's what they'd be called. Talk to you later.
Can you...
They keep running that joke, and it is funny.
It is. I love that. I love that they comes back for, like, everyone seems to enjoy the acronyms as much as us. Like that we just didn't make an acronym for everything.
Our name to spell shield.
Yes. Oh boy. Yeah, they are at the house discussing with Judy about why Eccles might be after her.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say why butter carving is weird, because she still has that. Yeah, it's still there.
She's still doing that, right? But no, she
to carve her butter into a chicken like a normal person, like anybody else,
like anyone else.
No one else. No.
People, Wisconsin.
Well, well, I mean, if she would just like to, do some butter carving while watching some underage drinking, that's very the Wisconsin experience.
Look,
Throw
I've
some
seen people,
cheese in there.
I've seen people deep fry butter. I've never seen people carve butter.
Yeah, yucky. Deep fried butter. This episode of Pod Against Evil is brought to you by
The
Deep
Wisconsin
Fried Butter.
State Fair.
Deep fried butter. If you want to give up culinarily, deep fried butter is your choice. What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
I've gotten off topic.
Jackass showing up.
That's right. So Judy has a theory that because she is a last descendant of Eudora Bishop.
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, Eudora Bishop. Constable Eccles is after her because she might be the only one that can summon Horace, who is a very nasty, powerful demon. I believe they describe him as the commander of the legions of hell.
Right.
So that sounds nasty.
And literally until I saw it written down and they spelled it out, I was picturing like a bus driver from the 40s or something, like kind of guy, like Wimpy from Popeye, basically.
There you go. Yeah.
Like that seemed like the person who would be named Horace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is Stephen Root gonna be in this season?
Hey, I'm the biggest evil. Hi, Horace.
And so yeah, after her line of wanting to carve butter like everybody else, she demands that they leave, in which everyone like
forgets how to walk.
Like I love that they all like, oh, sorry, am I going over here? Like, wait, I think I left something. This and like Judy's like, have you guys never been in a house before? Like they all like just have this collective brain fart of like we don't know how to escape a house. This puzzle it is unsolvable. But yeah, that is where it leads them to Stan because they're wondering where they can find out more about Horace. Evie's like, I know just the place.
Ta-da, transition
to Claire's room, and I love the way Stan meets them.
Yeah. No.
He just sees all these people on his porch. And he even has mentioned later, like, today's not a good day. Like, oh, well, why not? Well, it turns out, like, it started pretty good, but then there was this knock at the door, and then just this bag of assholes showed up. Or, what was the exact...
Jackasses.
Is it
Jackasses.
Pack of jackasses showed up.
I'm like, no, the day was going great. What happened? Yeah, this guy knocked on the door, started talking to me about my... Like, it reminds me of like when Jason Mendoza catches people up on stories in The Good Place. Like, if you don't stop him, he'll get to the point where he started telling you the story and keep going forward.
And then I met this guy, and he started talking to me about my life story.
We're all caught up.
Yeah, no, that's me. I'm the guy. So yeah, they threaten the Nesbit and Fleming come back. Threaten to come back with a warrant if they need to, in which Leon and Evie just start laughing,
like really nervously too.
Like they feel like they've been down this road before and it did not end well.
Well, line of just like, oh yeah, no, because those are super important. Yeah.
No, I loved it because she was like, her line is, oh man, that's funny. Humor is so important in America.
That's right.
And I was like, what?
That's worrisome. Like that line is really worse.
But yeah, they come up to Claire's room. Nesbith is talking about Stan and catching him up on the demon stuff. Mm-hmm. Stan is like, I'm not buying it, or that shade of red, which was very mean.
Very mean.
He and even Agent Nesbith like grabs her hair, like, oh, like seems to strike a chord with Agent Nesbith.
I love Stan straight up. I don't want to believe. Why?
Yes, that's
Fleming.
Very Stan.
Feels like that could be the slogan for the latest season of X Files. It's like, you know what? I don't want to believe. It's fine. We're okay.
I'm done believing.
I'm done believing. Fuck Journey. I say stop believing. Just full on stop. So they see that what Stan's been working on. They see some of his books and stuff that he's researching demons. They come across Taurus. And
which is like, spelled Haurus, I believe.
They make it very explicit in the episode, which was good because I definitely spelled it wrong. And Agent Fleming is like, oh, not that it's any of my business, but I think you've stumbled along a very powerful demon. You're looking for something that we're looking for as well. And he's like, yeah, it isn't any of your business. Now go sew a sweater. Which is such.
They call him Biff at this point too.
Yes, he also calls him Biff a couple times in the episode. I love Stan's insults to Agent Fleming this time around. Calling him like Biff Tannen. He does this great thing later when he's this like on the clock thing because
tick, tick.
I think Nesbith gets a call during this where she gets a call about like why aren't they investigating the crop squares somewhere like crop squares?
Yeah, Nesbith. Yeah, they're squares now. Nesbith's like straight up 90s X-File flip phone is great.
I noticed that until my wife pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, we don't have those anymore.
Yeah, it would be similar if like somebody showed up in the Neo jacket and glasses with the like schlick, like the click out phone.
Yes.
Out phone that we all wanted for about 6 months.
They're doing squares now. You didn't hear that from us, which is a great
line. Denise makes the real discovery in this episode.
Oh boy. So
you can make Jell-O
out of wine. Great entrance. We never follow up on the Jell-O wine, but
I mean, we've seen her literally stick a straw into like a boxed wine, so this is just a further progression of Denise's story.
She is again a small role for Denise in this episode, like the previous one, but man, does she work the screen when she is on, because she is very into Agent Nesbit, in where she I think she literally actually like does like this big gulp before she speaks of like, oh my goodness, you're like a strong, powerful female authority figure.
She shoves Evie aside while saying that.
Yes. You don't see that every day, in which Evie is like, what the fuck?
No, she said like, hello? Yeah, I said hi when I entered the room.
Yeah. Real passive-aggressive on Denise's part. Loved it. It was big.
Because, almost every episode has a really great Denise runner. And I was like, what's going to be the Denise runner in this one? And they nailed it.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is her being like very fan worshipy of Nesbit. If not like, I don't think it's sexual, but it's
at least stalkerish.
Like, yeah.
There's some weird lines in here that I'm about to get to that sound that like
just take them out of context.
Take them out of context. They don't sound great.
We can argue the themes of heavenly creatures later, but either way, it's not going to end well if Denise gets to hang out with them.
No, it's very single white female coming up in here.
I really love your suit and your sensible heels. Want to see my room?
The way she says it, like, where it just comes...
there's no segue. It's just immediate.
And I love your shoes. I want to see my room. And, like, it was not quite, want to help me move this couch? But it's almost there. Like, it is not good. Like, there is some concern I have in Denise's reaction here.
Room and never leave.
Right.
Yeah. And I love the look on Valerie Tosi's face of just like, whoa. It's just,
I need an adult.
It was the pig episode all over again.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. So, he they find the Horus book. Fleming wants to take it. He's like, mind if I take this? And like Stan just slams it down and gives him this alpha dog stare. And he's like, and look at it here and then leave without it. Like, he very much backs down. Like, yes, like John C. McGinley.
I love Fleming's just smooth transition through that.
And like John C. McGinley has this great physical acting to this part of like, you're on the clock, Biff, and he like taps his wrists and he does this he does this TikTok thing that reminds me of like, it feels like it's like Peter Pan, like that crocodile that swallowed the
alarm clock.
The alarm clock. Like, it's very much that level of like, and then while he's doing the TikTok, like he's doing the hand between his eyes, and then Agent Fleming is like looking back and forth in between the talks. Mm-hmm. And the timing,
even in pantomime, he wears his watch on the inside of his wrist.
Right. And I don't know. I loved the timing and the physicality of that scene. I thought it was really funny. Mm-hmm. We transition to the morgue, which is a great scene, but we're actually going to take a small break here, and have a word from our special guest for today. Valerie Tosi will be joining us, and then we'll have a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil, episode 302, Hex Files. I am very excited to introduce to you our special guest. Some have said she's so funny that it is a supernatural type funny, that cannot be explained, but I believe there is a scientific explanation. It's that she is just badass. It is Valerie Tosi. Valerie, say hi.
Hi, hello.
Valerie, thank you so much for being on. For those of you playing along at home, Valerie plays Agent Nesbit in this episode. Also, big X Files fan. So, you can find her at her Twitter at Clumsy Dana Scully. So if you need any more nerd cred than that, I don't even think you do. So
it writes itself.
Valerie, where we left off, Valerie, is the morgue sequence. We have transitioned away from Stan's house, where your character just met Denise.
Oh boy.
Which was an interesting interaction. Very stalkery.
Yes, very single white female.
I said that, yeah. Yes. It is very single white female. But so I was just wondering, before we transitioned to the morgue sequence, if you had anything to add on that scene in particular, because I found it very funny.
It's funny, when we shot that scene, there was actually we did a bunch of improv with the end of that, where and obviously it doesn't make it because of time, but there was a whole back and forth between Denise and I that was kind of like that mirror exercise where you're she's saying yes and I'm saying no. And so we kind of just kept going back and forth, and it was this really elongated, ridiculous thing. So I'm kind of bummed that it didn't make it, but at the same time, it's the episode's 21 minutes long. You can't fit everything in.
Right. Yeah, they're short episodes, and they got to cut some serious gems, but hopefully, if we get a fucking DVD release.
Yes. Cause with all these background, interviews we're doing, I really want to see a gag reel of this show.
Well, there's definitely a lot on the cutting room floor now, talking to everyone that I've talked to, that I now must see. So IFC, we love you and everything, but we'd love you more if you give us a proper DVD release, through some, any, extra features. So, please.
It'd be cool if they even just cut together a gag reel. Would be fun too.
Yes.
From the whole season.
They say all the love in the world can be seen in a DVD's Blu-ray extra. No, I think I'm messing up that quote.
Yeah.
What is that quote from? Man. Anyway, let us transition to what we were actually talking about, which was the morgue sequence. So we transition to the morgue sequence, in which we start with a line.
Like most government agents, I'm also a doctor.
Which I don't think is true, but
I don't know, prove him wrong.
But maybe in the X-Files universe, it is. Yeah. So, Valerie, you have experience in X-Files. Does the doctor element come up quite a bit in X-Files? We are
oh my god, it's every other it's every episode. It's funny because that was also something that we did in ADR, because that line wasn't there before. So they brought me back in a month or two after we shot to record that line. And I can watch all the episodes of the X-Files. or Scully rather, talks about that all the time. Like and I think I told you about that video too that's out. Like Scully is a medical doctor, where basically like every episode she always says like, I'm a doctor, I'm a medical doctor. It's so funny. It's like every single time. And you're just like, why though?
And you can tell she's a medical doctor because of her next line, which is actually kind of like is of a piece the same Edie Yard line of like most government agents, I am also a doctor. This is the head, which is great. I almost thought it was going to go to it's attached to the neck bone, which is attached to the arm bone, and we're going to go
really show she knows her stuff. That's all.
Yeah. I also like this morgue set.
Yeah, super cool, right?
Yeah, I love that the morgue in Willard's Mill somehow changes depending on the setting of the scene. Mm-hmm. Like during the Hex Files episode, it's a barren, underground, almost lab sort of thing with minimal to almost no lighting in it, except for this backlighting that seems to be I'm like, where is this light coming from? Because it's backlighting them Halo style all the time, which of course, very X Files, but yet it did leave me questioning, where's this light?
Just hanging out.
Mm-hmm. But if it's from the top,
cool. They did a lot of lighting gags for us that are super cool in the episode. Like there's that other scene when we're in Stan's kitchen, how they did the blinds, the slats on our faces. Like that one's really cool too. They did a whole bunch of X Files nods with the lighting.
It's great. I love it. And yeah, it sets the mood for this we mentioned this before, but the burnt bodies in this episode are just really gruesome.
They look really good. For burnt bodies.
What a great practical effect. I love it that they're gooey. They're at least a little sticky. You can definitely tell.
A marshmallow.
Like a marshmallow. Yeah. That's so.
Oh, don't you worry. There's so many photos of us fucking around with the dead bodies on set because they were so cool. We can't post them until everything airs. So, as everyone knows, this is pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. So, I will be posting some of those photos on my Instagram and Twitter, after everything airs. So please enjoy.
Yes. Tune in for some nice, burnt corpse selfies. Mm-hmm. That's what I follow.
Yep.
If you're not
playing volleyball with a corpse head, you're not doing it right.
I mean,
why are you even on set? Right. Why did you pay your SAG dues?
Come on, elevate your Instagram game, man. If you're not putting some emulsion or some form of demon ritual or murder on there, I just don't have the time. Mm-hmm. Come on. And stop putting pictures of your fucking dog. I know what your dog looks like. Yes, he's really cute, looking up. And, does he not understand something? You know what? I've gotten off topic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've gotten off topic. I am sorry, Stacy. That is for you and your stupid fucking dog.
Leash it in.
This got real personal all of a sudden. Where were we? Oh man, where actually were we? I actually have lost my place. That's embarrassing.
Don't lose your head over it.
No, that was right. We're talking about the head and the burnt corpse. So, they're discussing Judy, actually, because they're worried about either her well-being or what she might do, because at this point we are wondering whether or not she's going to skip town or try and finish this ritual. To which Angent Nesbit speculates that if she tries to finish the ritual to summon Horus, that she could bring about even more danger upon to herself, or get more on Demon's radar, or something like that. But she also has a opposing theory, which is, but it could also be, I'm sure there's also a scientific explanation for it, which is the Great Runner joke of this episode.
As some type of scientific explanation, thing. Science.
Yeah, science. Yes. So, yeah, I love how
she just kind of gives up halfway.
I love how Nesbit gives up halfway through of you know the deal. It's
you know what I'm about.
I'm the skeptic. You know the thing. Which
you know what Mama likes.
I wish we could title the episodes or have subtitles, because that would be a great Pot Against Evil. You know what Mama likes. That's a great episode title. Yeah, so they are, what's it, Janet's line here is, it's like, oh, Judy doesn't seem to be telling us everything. I think Judy has a secret.
Every Judy does. In my experience.
I love that line.
It's such a great line of like, just, wait, what is that? Like, how many Judys have you known?
And what have they done to you?
What were these secrets? I have
keep your head in the game, Fleming.
there's a lot of questions that, yeah, Judy Greer, I'm onto you. I know you have a secret. Every Judy does, and you too, Dench. Let's see where oh yeah, so they plan on going on a stakeout.
Mm-hmm.
So the stakeout, first, of course, Jen is like, oh, have you guys ever been on a stakeout? To which they laugh uproariously, if we ever been on a stakeout. And I love Evie's response here is like, no, but seriously, have you? I can't really get a read because you guys have been like so deadpanly funny this episode with your jokes that I can't tell what's a joke and what's an actual thing. Like, so
well, they have such a level of sarcasm that it's really hard to tell.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, after Judy's place and some butter chicken and a pentagram, we go on said stakeout, which is one of my favorite stakeout sequences now and in forever, because we get treated to just so many great lines that we'll talk about in a minute. But I was wondering, Valerie, what was one of your favorite lines in the stakeout in the car?
There's two.
Mm-hmm.
One is probably Chris's line about a human owl hybrid. What's it going to take, Nesbit?
Right.
Is one of my favorites. And I also love the line when I'm in the back seat and I'm talking to Stan and I'm like, how did your daughter get my number? And he's like, how does she not drown in a rainstorm? I've got my own set of questions, lady.
Oh, that's so great.
I like that, I like that Denise can be that resourceful when she puts her mind to it. Like,
it's a little worse.
It's scary, yeah, but it shows that there's some wherewithal in there, that she had to put some effort in. I also love the owl hybrid.
Does it have a beak?
Well, totes, or no, Nash.
Totes to the max.
Totes to the max. I love the 90s lingo. As a 90s kid who still unironically uses the word rad to describe stuff, Fleming speaks to me.
In your language.
In a way that I can truly understand and respect. Which, man, now I gotta, cause I actually wrote in my words, I actually wrote in my words,
in your own
I
words.
actually wrote down in my notes cause I didn't know how to write the word Nash, which is like the shortened version of naturally.
Right.
So I wrote, cause I knew I was gonna say Nats, why did I wrote Nats in my note?
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down Nats, ... shortened for naturally, said in the most douchey way possible. So I wrote down a insanely long note so that I would remember this line.
I would have just spelled it Natch.
Oh.
I would too.
Yeah. Oh, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I put way more work into that than I needed to. Yeah. All right, well, now I feel like a dumbass.
Jeez, man. Ugh.
But, yeah, this, we will transition back to our regular episode or regular content after some messages from our sponsors. But Valerie, before we take off and leave you here, is there anything else you'd like to mention about the episode specifically, or your experience on Stand Against Evil before we get out of here?
Oh,
I'll tell you, like, what was your favorite X-Files reference in the episode?
Oh, that's a good one. God, there's a lot. The medical doctor bit is great. Science, just specifically because of that whole thing too, because she talks about science all the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like the joke too, where we're in Claire's room and Stan goes, and I don't believe that shade of red, which is a great.
I love that.
It's so mean.
It's so funny.
And you get this great look on your face, like, oh, like it was just.
Yeah. Like, but that's the one thing I have.
That's part of my personality. What is this?
Yeah, it's.
I love that joke comes back later in the stinger.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it there, but that joke does come back in a very unexpected way. But Yeah, thank you so much for joining us again, Valerie. It was fantastic having you on. I'm definitely going to be following you on Instagram and checking out those burned body selfies and other possible looking crime scenes. Like, I'm really interested in that.
Oh, we have a behind the scenes photos that we've just been like dying to post.
Before we go, would you like to mention to the people where they can find you online or follow you on Twitter or some of your other upcoming projects or anything like that?
Sure. So my Twitter and Instagram, the handle is at Valerie_Tosi, but it's named Clumsy Dana Scully. So you can find me on either Twitter or Instagram. What else do I have going on? I run an all-female monthly comedy show at the Hollywood Improv called The Mermaid Comedy Hour. Mm-hmm. And we have our 3-year anniversary in November, which is very exciting. What else is going on? I don't know. I wasn't prepared. I didn't do my homework.
That's fine. Neither did we. This is all off the cuff. And these notes are just. I keep looking at my phone, guys. It's these aren't notes. I'm just checking Twitter.
It's true.
I'm really half-assing it, so don't feel bad, Valerie.
He's just gonna edit this all out anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally edit out that Natch thing too. You guys will never even know.
Oh my god!
Just gonna ADR it with just the whole thing.
Oh. Yes, but definitely check out Valerie at her Twitter and stuff. She is very funny. I followed her recently for the Emmys thing, which was fun. She had a lot of opinions on that, and definitely the Mermaid Comedy Hour, just because it has a great fucking name. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to watch mermaids? Like, come on.
This is what I'm saying.
Right? Am I crazy here? Now I'm doing stand-up. Have you heard about this mermaid thing?
Yeah, fine. There's a Twitter and an Instagram account for the show too, so you guys can find it on there to find all the show details. Because we also bring the show to other cities sometimes as well. So we might come to a city near you. You never know.
Ooh, fantastic! Oh my goodness. Yeah, I am looking forward to that, and we will cut back to our regularly scheduled programming after these messages. After these messages. We'll be right back. Thank you. Everyone always judges me for singing that, but you get it.
It's ingrained in our brains forever.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Pod Against Evil is brought to you by the Stand Against Evil fan club. So this, I am so sick and tired of talking about the Stand Against Evil fan club with you, Travis.
Okay.
I've decided to get a friend of mine to talk some sense to you and to finally getting you on this goddamn Facebook group. We got another person doing an impression of Mark Wahlberg to help you out. So without further ado, Fake Mark, tell this guy what's up. Hey, Travis, I hear you're not on the Stand Against Evil fan club. What's that about? For real, man. It's like you're not even looking at me. It's like you're trying not to laugh at something. Do I amuse you? Am I funny to you? No, I'm slipping a joke.
No, that's a completely different impression.
I'll tell you what, man. It's the one place we can go to, share all your love for Stand Against Evil. It only makes sense. I don't understand why that you'd be so resistant. Get on the social media. Be a good millennial. What the fuck's your problem? Anyway, come on. Come to the Stand Against Evil fan club and say hi to your mother for me. That's right. Your mother's actually in there. Your mother's more hip than you. You know what? You're a lost cause. I'm going to go say it in there, and I'm going to say hi to your mother for you. You disgrace. Thank you, Mark. Anyway, yes, you can find the Stand Against Evil fan club at their Facebook at Stand Against Evil fan club or their Twitter at Stand Against Evil fans.
I'm feeling very attacked right now.
Oh, yeah.
I came here for a good time.
It is, well, that's just the funky bunch groove that you're feeling right there. And you can feel the similar groove by joining the Stand Against Evil fan club and sharing your love with Stand Against Evil. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. Where were we, guys? Oh, yes, we left off with Valerie. We were at Judy's place now.
Evil chicken.
Travis is very uncomfortable at this point because we are back with the butter chicken, and it is the middle of a pentagram circle.
I knew it was evil. I told you.
You did. You called it. Judy is muttering some weird shit.
She says, make eggs for me when she puts it in the fridge.
That was a weird line.
What is this?
I thought she was subbing Horus, but then I was confused because she puts the butter chicken away after being in the center. And I thought, like, is she putting it away so that is more concentrated on the circle? Or was that the summoning and she has now cast a spell on the butter chicken that will make it lay eggs for her in the fridge?
I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I think they were trying to play off as like, oh, well, she had it on her table and she's moving it out of the way to set up for the summoning. But she had to put the pentagram on there first, so it doesn't make any sense.
Either way.
That we didn't get butter chicken eggs or the butter chicken come to life and attack somebody.
Yeah. Butter eggs have been amazing.
Travis was very excited of the demon butter chicken.
Look, I thought it was going to happen. I was pretty sure I was right.
So, and the show is not above doing that.
No.
For sure. So I see why you might have thought that. Anyway, we cut to the stakeout with our Evie and our two agents, Fleming and Nesbit. They are talking about Judy and what her possible mindset is, whether or not Constable Eccles has come to finish her off, and she's trying to protect herself, or if Julie's trying to summon Horace herself now, and to try and complete the ritual. And I love Nesbit here is again with her line of like, or there's a scientific explanation because demons don't exist. Which I love that, like, Fleming doesn't find it cute anymore. It was just like...
We literally just had a case when you were attacked by a shape-shifting human-owl hybrid. What's it gonna take, Nesbit?
So true. Like, the X-Files.
Yes.
That is so true. Like, every fucking episode...
Outside of parody, this nailed so much X-Files for me.
Yeah. Every X-Files episode, all the bad shit happens to Scully. The aliens attack her, the fucking Wolfman attacks her, everything.
It's like if Egon didn't believe in slime.
Exactly.
Like, no, man, I know you've seen it.
And then the next episode, it's like, no, there's got to be a rational explanation for all this.
Yeah.
There's not.
Their entire I love Evie's only question. Really, did it have a beak? Natch.
Natch. We were talking with Chris Doherty and Valerie Tosi in an interview that'll go up later this week. And he was saying that he improv'd a lot of his dialogue in the car scene here.
Okay.
Big Italy.
Nation blew my mind. It's truly amazing. Like,
well, like some of it's written, but some of his reactions, like Natch, and then of course later Toast to the Max. But yeah, so that is like I love that he finally has that breakdown to Nesbit. Like, God damn it. Yeah, I wonder. Like, I would imagine that it has to be a improv line as Nash, because how do you write that in a script? And there's going to be a lot of cutting back and forth because we cut from the stakeout to Judy's place to another stakeout with Stan. So there's a lot of cutting back and forth in these scenes. So forgive me if I lose my place here. But we cut to Judy's place where she has a dagger that she is stroking. And I think we're supposed to be thinking she's chanting something.
Yeah.
But to be honestly, it kind of comes out like baby talk to me.
She's talking to the dagger.
Stuff. I couldn't follow what she was saying.
I know I'm a nice, but yeah, who's the good dagger? Who's the good dagger? Like, I just thought like she was gonna go into this.
Thank you for repeating that in my ears.
I was just like, I have headphones on, and your ASMR channel is not appealing to me.
You're talking about.
Oh boy. So we cut to Stan and Drinkwater out on their own stakeout, watching the stakeout. Very Inception levels of stakeout here. And there's a guy outside yelling about the freedom of the press. And Leon says he's the guy from the paper, and he's dressed in a ridiculous outfit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who this guy is. I can only assume he's a reference to some sort of X-Files character.
Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah. The hat gave it.
Yeah, do you guys know about Kolchak?
No. I do not.
They tried to bring the show back, but it didn't catch.
Kolchak was an old show, 60s, 70s?
Yes. I think 60s, 70s.
Yeah. All 60s, 70s era show that was basically the inspiration, Chris Carter's inspiration for the X-Files.
Yeah.
It was it was a guy who dressed like that, and he was a paranormal investigator named Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah. So he's basically Proto-Mulder.
Yeah, Proto-Mulder. That's why he comes back at the end and takes pictures.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that they added that nod.
That was great. Yeah.
So he's the only one that investigates.
And I paused about it too, because I was like, there's been no introduction of who is that. And then like with the hat, I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah, so then we are treated to this lovely apple pie exchange between Stan and Drinkwater, which is very funny. Like, hey, do you want one of these apple pies? They're pretty good. And I love Stan just goes on this big tirade of like, yeah, no, I really liked those one time, but I found a Band-Aid in one, then like, never again. To which Leon is just like, ugh, and throws his out, and it's like, oh man, I was kidding. I'll have that one. Which is so
gets out
great.
of the car, don't eat my pie.
Yes, and he makes sure, like, when he leaves, like, don't eat my pie. That is that's Stan's pie now.
Be a dick. Stan's gonna take it.
Oh yeah. Drinkwater's experience of binoculars, I think, is my favorite Drinkwater moment. Really. Like, when Stan gets out of the car, because Evie comes and gets him, he hands Drinkwater the binoculars, and Drinkwater puts them to his eyes and goes, I'm Superman.
Superman.
like, man, you're a cop, and binoculars are this new to you.
Yeah.
I have telescopic vision.
Way around. Yeah.
It's really worrisome.
But yeah, Janet, or I said Evie, comes up to them and asks, like, hey, why are you spying on us? And which is prompts a great exchange between the two of them that seems to happen more and more through these seasons that I really like.
Why are you spying on us?
Who said I was?
I did.
When?
Just now.
All right, thanks.
It's this great Abbott and Costello who's on first type thing that I really like. I love this chemistry between them that they, because I do believe I have called them the Abbott and Costello like duo before, so I just love that this type of humor keeps coming back. But yeah, they end up hanging in the car together. Stan just ends up hanging in the same car, which I'm assuming they just left Drinkwater there to like just.
It's probably for the best, really.
Right. So
he's just looking through binoculars. It's probably for safe for everyone.
We cut back to Judy, who has cut herself with the dagger and draws an X on the candle, which I'm assuming maybe be an X-Files reference, although maybe it's just an X as a very common demon spell thing.
Creepy ritual-y stuff.
Right.
Actually, an X-Men.
Okay. So they are in the car with Stan. Stan, of course, they were actually curious. I think Angent Nesbit asked him, what were you looking for? Well, when we first found you, when we first met you, like in the Claire's room, and Evie is also very curious. Like, yeah, that's not like you, Stan.
Reading.
In which Stan gets very defensive and is like, I can read the books in my own house. Thank you very much, Barrett. Was it Agent Fleming and Nesbit are kind of like commiserate with them a little bit. They're like, it's just kind of nice having some guys around that kind of know what we go through. It's nice to have someone who will believe you when you say not only does Sasquatch exist, there's 30 of them and they help protect, they help scare off hikers away from military black sites, which both our heroes, our dynamic duo, turn around and ask, like, really? In which we get the amazing line,
totes to the max.
I don't know why, like, there's 90s dialogue all over.
His vernacular is great.
But it makes me smile. I like it. I think it's a well-worthy addition.
So the moon landing's fake. No, so the moon is fake, but the landing was real. It's a soundstage in Vermont. And I love that what Stan doesn't believe in that story is that there are sound stages in Vermont.
Well, I mean,
yeah, like, no, I'm bull. I'm calling bull on that. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
isn't this where Nesbit gets the phone call?
Yes. Like right after this scene, right after like they discuss the moon scene of like, no, the moon's fake, and I do love, like, I can buy that, but not sound stations in Vermont. That's too out there, man.
It's ridiculous.
And yeah, we get a call from Denise in which Angent Nesbit just picks up the phone and starts talking like, no, I don't want to go apple picking with you, which seems to be Denise's move when she runs into a new friend of hers. She did the same thing. No, she went blueberry picking with the goat.
Yeah.
Right.
So if she makes a new friend or something, it's always some sort of berry picking, I guess, is the activity. It's some fruit picking. I don't know. And I love this because Nesbit's like, how did your daughter get my number? Which Stan has a great response of,
how does she not drown in a rainstorm? I got my own questions there, lady.
I don't know how my daughter works. You're going to have to figure that mystery out on your own.
That is something that the X-Files guys could probably research, just Denise.
Indeed. So after this, they kind of think the stakeout is kind of a bust. They want to know if, like, I think Fleming asks Stan if he wants to go grab a beer. This time I think he insults him by calling him Fenwick. It's like, hey, Fenwick, I still don't trust you. Don't trust anyone, Mr. Miller. Oh, yeah? well, now I do trust you. Damn it! This reverse psychology, like this battle of wits that's going on in the car is something to truly behold.
More like the battle of the witless.
Mm-hmm. But it turns out that the stakeout, they quit the stakeout just a little too early.
Because I knew that chicken was evil.
Well, we opened up the door, and this is where Travis was very like, "Oh my god!"
I was so excited. Like, I was right, vindication.
But no, her butter chicken has just fallen over. Yeah, it is ruined, and then she's attacked by a demon.
Mm-hmm. Boo!
And we cut to Stan's kitchen, and in Stan's kitchen, he meets up with Denise there. Denise is making a scrapbook for Angent Nesbit, so she will never forget her time here. Which
means, like, it's not even the time she spent with Denise, just the time this woman spent in Willard's Mill. Like,
so following her around, like taking pictures.
That was my next question. Was like, I can see this scrapbook being really comprehensive. Of like, how do you have photos of this? That's me in the bathroom. Like,
just pictures of the agent's back.
It's a lot of her sleeping. It's a lot of Agent Nesbit asleep.
Like, you have pictures before I even knew you.
Right. This is a week ago.
Yes. So, very disturbing. But even more disturbing is that Judy shows up. Holy shit. Judy is showing
looking so hot.
Looking very dead or demon possessed or whatnot. Looking like right out of the chick out of the Ring video.
Mm-hmm.
Stan's reaction though is one of my favorite reactions to any monster, even on this show, when he just like it calmly explains the arson plan that he has of we're gonna leave the room and you're gonna stay here. We're gonna go outside and you're gonna shut all the doors and burn the house down. Do you love it as much as I do?
It's like,
you're loving it,
me, but I do want you dead.
It's one of the calmest. It was as good for me as the like Nesbit Fleming thing of like, how do you still not believe?
Yeah,
it's great too because Stan even leaves like his beer next to her. Like, here you go, have that.
Yeah, here, have that. Cool yourself off.
Yeah,
it's about to get hotter in here. I love that. I agree with Les. I thought that was a great Stan highlight of this episode and show of just his response to demons. Now is like, you know what? Fuck you. I listen to anything you got to say. I'm in burn it all down mode rather than let you guys run shop on me anymore. Judy does not want Agent Fleming and Nesbit around. They do not belong, is what she says. They come back to the scene in which Evie and the agents are back in the kitchen where Judy is gone. They are asking, or no, I should say Evie's not there yet. The agents are asking Stan what happened and if Denise saw anything. And he's like, well, Denise definitely did see some stuff. She smelled a lot of that glue when she was scrapbooking. Where is she now? Going to get more glue. Like, very, like, Stan is not the father of the year in this episode, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm wondering, like, is the Denise damage done due to Stan, or is it already there? He just learned to roll with it.
I don't know. It's the butter chicken or the egg. I don't know which comes first. Evie does end up showing up, and she has discovered the secret here. Udiah Bishop spent some time in the Himalayas, met a Hindu spirit named
Kumbhakarna or something?
Kumbhakarna. And who also translates to Horus. So it's the same guy. Demon, whatever. And it turns out he needs a human host.
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike Merv Griffin, apparently. Which is Stan's suggestion, which I love how Stan is so dedicated to being right, because it's like, no, he needs a body to survive.
Like Merv Griffin.
Okay, but it's probably not...
And Stan gives this great fist bump too, like this, like this little
victory,
like got it. Like when she admits, like, okay, yes, like that's technically true, but and yeah, they discuss on where they should need to discuss do the ritual, because the reason that they fucked up the Black Hat Society is that the ritual needs to take place at the stroke of midnight at the midnight moon. At Bishop's Chapel.
Right.
And they didn't have that information, which is why their spell went wrong. And Agent Nesbit pipes in, of course, and is like,
there is no Bishop's Chapel in Willard's Mill. I know that because of science.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll buy it at this point.
But You could have used Google Maps.
Google Maps is a science.
It's science. Come on.
It's science.
Then you could find it because they continue on to say there is one.
Right.
Stan
So
comes in with
so it's like, aha.
a tire store named Bishop Chapel Tires, built on the abandoned site of the old chapel. But the tire store itself is now abandoned because people don't use tires anymore.
Well, yeah. I love Fleming is like, wait, yeah, they do. Like,
And now, Biff, that's your trespass.
Just let him have it.
I love how flustered Stan gets when he's caught in this because he realizes that, like, no, what I said just doesn't make any sense.
You're just like, it's really random.
So they take off towards the factory. Evie gives a small uh-oh and grabs some salt before she leaves. She took a look at the book and saw something bad in there. So we go. Head in
the true
Yes.
file montage. I felt like
We come into the warehouse and the music kicks up. The lights,
everything like a green tone.
Oh yeah, and
Yep.
flashlights
And
are
the
all you see.
flashlights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
classic. Yeah.
Now this
Files icon.
Now this soundtrack is like, I really had to double check myself. I was like, wait a second.
Sounds really close.
Are you sure they never used this music on the show? Are you sure that we're not going to get hit up with a lawsuit on this? Because this feels...
Mark Snow, man, it is so close.
We're getting into some...
Look at the music for this. I felt like that helped really sell the whole parody. Or the whole...
No, I loved it. We are running the risk of getting into some Vanilla Ice territory of, no, mine goes dun 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 dun. But I think it's well worth the risk because it really came off well in the parody.
It's also a parody. Laws are different for that, right?
I think we're good. It's an homage. We're all right.
But no,
it's not stealing if it's an homage. So Evie catches up and tries to talk with Stan about something. Stan is much more concerned about embarrassing himself over the tire thing, though. Like, look, the tire thing, it was like an article I read, all right? Like, I read it somewhere.
The mechanics. I love that he was defensive enough about it to bring it up in the next scene of like, so
right.
I wasn't just out of the blue on that.
Like, I had a reason.
And yeah, they end up wanting to split up. Like Nesbit makes the suggestion of splitting up since this place is so large, dark, and foreboding. Let's split up into small, vulnerable groups. And Evie puts the salt around them, puts the salt circle around them.
Years of watching Supernatural have helped me immensely in other television experiences. And so, yeah, as soon as she grabbed the salt, I was like, ghost protection.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So the agents are confused. Like, that's not going to help against Horus. Like, oh no, but it might do something against you. And she rips up the page of the book that she had, which has a picture of them on it, or at least their likeness. And it reveals that their names are Nathaniel Ignatius Fleming and Marion Nesbit Fleming. They are witches or witches that were cursed back in Eccles' time, and they are here on Eccles' commission to take out Stan and Evie, but also have a secondary mission of making sure Horus is not summoned. Mm-hmm. So I love this reveal too, because they're like, oh man, you got us. And it's like, we can't really do anything to you while you're inside that circle.
Yeah, salt stops us.
Like, salt stops any like magic spell we could pull off. Although there's this one thing. We still have guns, which is very, I found like, oh yeah, that's right.
Fuck.
Like, I loved how even the look on Evie's face is like, shit, that's right. I probably should have brought one of mine to this. Now that I think about it.
Funny to see somebody pour the salt circle in a ghost story and a ghost pick a brick up and bean them with it.
Just hit them.
Yeah, it is.
Think fast.
It is really funny because they basically remember like, oh, that's right, guns are a thing. Mm-hmm. Damn it. I totally thought we were operating on like, ghost courtesy rules.
Right. But it's all right because Fleming and Nesbit also forget something.
Oh, yes. Everyone's being very forgetful tonight because it turns out Judy shows up and is very displeased with the Flemings. And is like, it's time for you to go. Like, aha, you're an hour early. It's a minute before 11, and I even like that Stan's like, that's not right.
Looks his watch and like, no.
I love Evie just reaching like, shit.
Well, he was looking at his watch in the pantomime in the previous scene, so you know that he like knows what time it is. Like, and Evie makes him shut up, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Did you guys ever heard of this evil government conspiracy known as daylight savings? And I love that there's an ADR line from Janet. It's like, it's midnight, guys. It's time's up. Like, there's just this ADR line thrown in from Janet, which is just like, I'm not sure if it was so that people weren't confused or something.
Doesn't seem
like, it feels like out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, where was that from? Like, but then we get to see him. Horace.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally get a look at this guy, and wow.
Good design.
Yes, I have JFC Horace in my notes here. I really like the monster design on this. I'm a sucker for creepy bone antler horn stuff, and Horace really delivers on something between that and like a Tim Curry legend giant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. I love the eyes. Like there's this
like little spider eyes almost.
Well, they're like there's like a bone like diagram like over the eyes, like they look kind of like a bug's eyes, but there's like hellfire beneath them and they glow. It's really cool. I really like this monster design. Also played by friend of the pod, Mick Ignis.
I wonder if we'll continue to see this design going forward, because he needs a human host to be active in the world, right? So probably won't.
Indeed.
Well, we're just going to constantly see dead Judy, and then like she occasionally turns into this awful thing. Yeah. We don't really know Horace's wants yet. Like we don't really know what he wants. We just know that like Eccles was willing to task two witches to stop him.
Right. We know he's the commander of the legions of hell. That's about it.
Right. And yeah, like Horace is our big bad it's going to be a recurring big bad for this series, or not big bad, but like other evil demon.
Just a constant theme going on.
So, yeah, like, what do we think of our first initial impression of him? Because I thought like, he comes off as pretty mysterious and intimidating. I kind of liked him.
But he turns the agents to paste.
Well, yeah.
Paste, like, actually wet-looking, like, burnt pieces of corpse. Like, the disgustingness of the remains of the agents. Like, I expected, are they just going to be ash? Because it's such a just, like, bright white show of power. Like, he's just blasting them with some kind of evil magicness. You know, they could have gone with anything. It could have been dust. They could have been burnt silhouettes on the floor or whatever. They are Return of the Living Dead, Tom Savini gore. And I really dug it. I also love Stan's just, bye Judy. Like, and
see you, Judy.
And when Evie's like, so hey, I'm a little freaked out. I think Horace might actually be more powerful than Eccles. And Stan's like, yep.
Like, about that.
I almost waited for him to follow it up with, that's why I was helping summon her.
Right.
Or, you know.
Like, that's the idea. And yeah, you're right. Those skeletons were gooey.
Yeah.
They were surprisingly gooey for the show. That like you're right, could have like just had them go into dust, but I appreciated that. I like that.
It too. Something I've complained about before is that sometimes I wish that they would, you know, throw another 2 buckets of blood towards it or go a little more gory. And there have been a couple of times at the end of last season and now this season that have kind of given me hope on like, oh yeah, no, I really like that. That was perfect. The burnt corpses at the start of this episode, and God, I sound like a terrible person.
Those were good.
Terrible people. You just like what you like. It's fine.
No, I dug it. I'm with Les on that one. I like that attention to detail, like the detail on the corpses. Our heroes, with the day saved, walk off, but the guy from the paper comes back
with an old camera.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know the actor. Couldn't find the actor who plays this guy.
Pretty sure.
I'm sorry.
Night Stalker is on Hulu if you guys want to watch it. It's pretty good.
It's fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's. I'll put it. Keep it on my radar here.
What's his closing thing? With the narration, like they never.
I have it written down. I have it written down right here. In the files of the New Hampshire state government, you will find no records of the Bureau of Paranormal Phenomenon. Bishop's Tires is scheduled for demolition, and Beauty Time hair products have discontinued Autumn Orange number 4, which is a crack back at the "I'm not buying that hair" line from the earlier scene with Nesbit, which I thought was a funny callback to like, oh geez, that Like that, we called back to that, one of those. There's like even, like there's been a bunch of running jokes this episode, a bunch of runners, and like that one was just kind of, I thought was a one-off, but they made sure to call it back, which I thought was funny.
For just a moment, like I had to look it up afterwards because it reminded me, but it's not the same. From Ghost, the hair dye is Autumn Sunrise. But when Whoopi Goldberg gets possessed in Ghost and looks like, damn, what'd you do to your hair? Like, do you like it, baby? It's Autumn Sunrise. And like,
it's Autumn Sunrise. I remember that scene, which also always confused me too, because the ghost can see people. Like he acts like he's never seen her before. Like, no, you saw her when you were a ghost. You can see ghosts. You can't just see through Whoopi. You know what? We're not going to get on ghost logic right now.
That's a whole different mess.
Like, yeah, we're not going to get on the Swayze train of ghost, but I have my issues. Anyway,
minute by minute.
This is a great episode. I loved it a lot. What did you guys think?
I think it was great because it seems like one where it's like, oh, it's going to be a parody episode and there's not going to be any like actual anything besides just the parody going on. And they're like, no, here's plot. Here you go.
Yeah, here's some significant plot moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with Travis. Same thing. Like, there's a lot of like, they sprinkle in a lot of, they do a lot of work for what's going to happen this season with Morris and everything. I like that. But it does seem like it's going to be a one-off parody, but it's not. And there's a really good story. And even though the X Files thing kind of feels out of left field, it's still really funny. So this is great.
Yeah, there was a moment midway through the episode where I realized, like, this isn't just we want to do an X Files episode, which I was completely on board with.
Sure, that would have been fine.
And wasn't bothered by. But there's a moment where I realized, oh, wait, I don't know why you ghosts are doing an X Files parody, but you're actually... Which, like, you are completely within the mythology of the show. You are just another monster of the week, just like everything. Like, the moment where it clicked of like, oh, this isn't a one-off parody that isn't really canon. Like, this is directly advancing quite a bit of plot of the show and just still giving me this spot-on parody.
Yeah, it's deeper than I thought it was going to be.
I keep saying parody. We said homage earlier, and like, you can feel the love about X-Files. Yeah. They're not, stabbing at it, but I still wanted to jump up and applaud when he was like, how do you not still believe? You were attacked
by a human. I loved it. It was a half human, half owl hybrid. Do you think that the half human, half owl hybrid half abides puzzles? Or is somewhat more tolerant to the puzzles and their ilk? Or is... I
mean, I highly doubt adding human to something makes them more tolerant, but all right.
Like it'll do word find, but not Sudoku.
Okay, yeah,
that's the limit. Sudoku's the limit.
That's our limit. That's the scale. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, that was 302, guys. We are super excited. Third season really kicking off. In my opinion, really hitting the ground running. So I am excited to hit 303, which is Larva My Life. The kaiju parody episode, so we're gonna get to that one next week, or depending on when this goes up, because we might actually be doing 2 of these a week, considering that's when it drops. We don't know. Edit this out later, I guess, if I bother to do so. Thank you so much to our special guests, Mike, Moody, and Les Weiler. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is fun.
Of course. And would you like to tell the people where they can find you and your content? If they so choose to do so, and look you guys up on Permanent Record and The Good Die Young and all that good stuff.
Yep. So I'm at thegooddieyoungtv.com, and I'm on thetvdudes.com, which are both on Electric Sweater Network. And Mike, you are all over a couple of podcasts.
Yeah, just go to electricsweater.com. You'll find Star Trek Discovery Pod there, which I do with Grant Davis and a few other people. And you can also find Mr. Robot O.
And we've roped you into TV Dudes now.
Yeah, I'm a utility player for TV Dudes every now and then, so tvdudes.com. And
we got to bring in a ringer sometimes.
Yeah, that's who I am. And
sure,
if you're in Austin, you need a podcast studio, just visit us, Permanent Record, permanentrcrd.com.
Fantastic. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you all for listening. If you enjoy this episode and you enjoy the podcast in general, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and or YouTube. Leave a review for us wherever you can, especially on iTunes. Help us beat that algorithm. You can follow us on any of our social media to tell us what you thought about this episode, the Hex Files. What were some of the Hex Files stuff we missed? I know there's got to be a bunch of background jokes we probably
we don't watch the show,
didn't get to, but like let us know what you thought about the episode, and just hit us up at Pod Against Evil on our Twitter, Pod Against Evil on Facebook, or you can just email us at podagainstevil@gmail.com. Otherwise, we will see you next week, guys. May the owls abide. See you later, Stamp fans.